What's up, guys? Welcome to our second weekly update at the MHP Pros. Very excited to jump in here and tell you what's new. So for starters, we have officially launched our Lowe's partnership. And what does that mean? Colin has told us here in our group that after weeks of discussion and planning, the MHP Pros program with Lowe's is finally complete, baked in at 5 to 10% discounts on everything. And they've also included 119 contract price items specifically designed for mobile home park investors. So that covers everything from appliance, smoke detectors, doorknobs, peel and seal, blinds, and much, much more. You can see which contract items you have access to, which should be that entire list of 119 once you join via the Lowe's group. And as you can see, it's very simple to do that. It says, please check out the link or the attachments to get your account moved over to our program. This includes instructions on how to join, how to access the full list of contract price items with ease. So you can click this link here, come to the how to add yourself for discounts on Lowe's. You're going to follow this step-by-step process. So the first one is going to be that you have MHP Pros resource access. And if you'll remember, if you haven't done this already, I'm just going to give you a recap. On this page, it shows you how to do this step-by-step. For standard members, they're filling out this form, right? For premium members, they're filling out this form in this course, which only premium members have access to. So make sure you know which tier you're on and you use that form to get resource access. Once you have resource access, then you're going to go to this PDF, right? And that's going to have the code to sign up. After you open that PDF, you're going to follow the steps, and it says hint, you have to do step 1 above to get access to this PDF, which we just talked about, giving yourself resource access. So from the homepage, you'll go to your organization settings here, and then you go to organization settings here. And when you click on this, you should have this section here, which is organization information. And you would type in the group that you're going to be a part of, which is the MHP Pros group. And when you type that in and press enter, it will give you that pricing. One thing I do want to point out here is that Colin said the list is fully created, 119 items. So please note it can take up to 24 hours from when a new member joins the GPO for Price and Reflect. So if you do it today, you might not have access to those discounts until 24 hours from now. So just make sure you do that quickly. And then you're going to fill out this form with the company name as it's shown in your organization. So again, if you're here, you can see the company name here. So copy this, and then you're going to go through this form, which authorizes you as a member of the MHP Pros community. So you'll go through this form, and you'll start here, and you'll enter your first name. On the next page, add the email you used to sign up for Skool. So this is important. You click on your name and then it'll pop up with your email address that you signed up for Skool. So use that and then enter that here, send verification code. So once you've entered your verification code, it'll have a check mark here to say it's verified. Go to next, and then say on the next page, add your company name as it's shown in your organization settings. So I'll add Archangel Asset Management. And you'll press submit. And then you will get an email validating that you've signed up. If that is not the right email address that you signed up for Skool with, you'll also get an email that says, hey, this was incorrect. So please refill out the form for the correct email address because it's matched to your account. And so if you don't do this process, then when we see your name pop up in our group for your business, we'll just delete that out of the group. So just make sure you do this so we know who you are and that your account is connected to this one. One thing I want to point out is this is for MHP Pros paid members only. So if you're not paid, you can get on the standard plan at $97 a month and take full advantage of this. If you're doing a lot of projects, this is going to be incredible. There's a million reasons to join the MHP Pros. This is just one of them. You're going to make your money back within a couple months for sure with these Lowe's discounts. One thing I have to mention is you should not be inviting people outside of the MHP Pros mastermind into this program. So you have to be a paid member. You only have to be on the standard level, which is $97 a month to get access to this benefit. So if your friends want to join, they want access to this benefit, bring them in. I will say that this is true. If you share this with others who have not paid, we're going to deactivate both of your accounts, right? So just be honest. If someone wants to join, we want them to come in. This is a great benefit along with all the others we have inside the platform. So now this is a no-brainer to join the MHP Pros. You're saving money by joining. So you should invite your friends in and they will benefit from this as well. So I just wanted to say that all of the individual benefits are here as well. Colin is also inside the platform now. So if you have questions, you can ask him, right? You can reach out to him as well, which is fantastic. It's great to have a man on the inside at Lowe's. So that's it on the Lowe's side. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Colin and we will help you out there. So thanks so much. Okay, next, I just want to walk through one of our tools, which I will do every single week so you can see how it works and you can ask me questions about that specific tool that week. So I want to show you one of our tools that I use probably every single day, which is the seller financing calculator. I search for that in Module 8 resources, I find it. You can see this LOI, multi-offer LOI, is best paired with the seller financing calculator, which I'm going to show you exactly why that's the case right now. So let's go to the seller financing calculator and we have it pulled up here. And we're going to walk through basically a bunch of examples using this calculator, right? First off, what does the seller financing calculator do? When you're making offers, you probably should not just pitch one number. And the reason for this is if you have a seller who doesn't quite know what he wants, you can help guide the conversation to what's most important to him with multiple offers. And shout out to Tim Woodbridge. He's probably the first person who showed me the multi-offer LOI. And I was like, this is fantastic. I come from the world of private equity. It's usually just not multiple offers we give someone. It's usually here's your offer. And then they compare it against other offers in the market. So I really like this from the entrepreneurial investment side because when you're talking about mom and pop owners, they typically don't know exactly what they want. So this really helps hone in on what might be most important to them. So the multi-offer strategy, I usually go with 3 offers. More than that, it's a lot. So I would say 2 to 3 offers is the best. And then more than that can get confusing for the seller. So what I typically do is I go from the lowest price, which is going to be traditional financing. So that means that we bring all the cash to the closing table alongside the debt we've used, and we just pay him out as the seller to walk away. Then the other 2 are some combination of either seller financing as a second lien with traditional financing or just straight up seller financing. And what we do is we increase the price just a little bit to add a little bit of spice and pizzazz to the deal so that he's, oh my gosh, they're not paying me 1 million anymore. They're paying me 1.2, but it's a 4.5% interest rate. Now he doesn't have to recognize all of that gain right off the bat. So from a capital gain standpoint, it's a great idea. And secondly, he can also have income coming in from that seller financing note. So a lot of the times, a little bit of a higher price and some interest, even in an interest-only position, so you're not paying down that balance, the debt service only includes the interest, that's a fantastic offer for a seller. And a lot of them really want that offer, frankly. So that's why I do the multi-offer strategy, and that's how I lay it out. It's like lowest price, traditional financing, and then 2 other offers with seller financing, and we'll see that. So seller optics matter. Tool surfaces total interest the seller receives and total consideration, making higher priced financed offers feel more attractive because they're seeing in this calculator, which we'll see, how much they're making each month, which is, oh, wow, I don't have to do anything and I make this much money. It's a good feeling. And then it feeds in the 10-minute pro forma. So we're going to take the terms and then we're going to feed it into our pro forma so that we can see what the end result will be from a total return standpoint. So the purchase price that we're giving to the seller is 1.2 million. The loan amount is 80%. So 375,000. We have a rate of 4%. We have an amortization of 30 years, but that doesn't matter because our term is 5 years and we have an interest only of 5 years as well. Okay. So if you wanted to turn this on, you could actually choose the loan amount. So A $1 million loan would be an 83% LTV, right? So we could even say we'll give you 200,000 at the outset and then take on the rest as debt. So let's start there. Beginning of year one. So the IO period is going to last the whole time. You can see there's no amortization period here. And annually, you're going to owe $40,000 on that note. So what does that mean for the seller, right? So let's take a look. The proposed price is 1.2. The down payment's 200,000. He's going to get monthly interest only payments of $3,333. And then he's going to get a balloon payment in year 5 of $1 million. And then the total interest he'll receive is $200,000. So the total consideration is the 1.2 that we're paying him plus the $200,000 that he's receiving in interest. So we're going to pop over to the LOI here, and we can actually plug this in to here alongside the seller consideration. So it's seller carry with 5-year balloon payment, right? And the proposed purchase price is going to be 1.2. Great. So you don't even need to, you can basically say $200,000 down payment. You don't even have to say the percentage. So he gets $200,000 up front, and then balloon at year 5 of $1 million. Okay, great. And then we're going to have percentage interest of what did we say it was? Let's take a look at, we said 4%. 4%. And no amortization, right? So 4% interest only payments is what we'll put, of $3,333 per month. So he's going to look at that and say, wow, $333,000 per month. I'm going to say total interest received of $200,000 over 5 years. Total consideration received of $1,400,000. Okay. So how do I know all this? I just showed you that this is popping up for you right here. So you actually have right here all of those numbers that you need to input into this LOI. So now you can see how this becomes more attractive than maybe the $1 million offer that we offer with traditional bank financing. So maybe this would be 1 million. But we have to pay 7% on that, right? Or whatever it is right now. So we want to offer maybe a little bit more, so 1.2, but with a significantly lower debt service. Because in 5 years, if we accomplish our business plan correctly, it's going to be worth a hell of a lot more than 1.2. And obviously, you have to input these into your model to make sure that these numbers work, right? This is all hypothetical. We're looking at the seller financing calculator and saying, hey, how can we get really low interest rates whilst also paying a slightly higher price? But none of this will tell you the returns you're achieving with those options, which is where this comes in and where you should be basically toggling this stuff. So we had 80%, or I think it was 83%, with 5-year maturity and a 5-year AM, and we're going to get rid of it after 5. If we have these terms, we're making a 44%. You can see if this was a 7% loan at 70% LTV and no IO, it's a much worse return, right? So let's go back, all right? 44 versus 30. Even if we have to pay a couple $100,000 more, likely this is a better deal, right? In this deal, maybe it's not a couple $100,000 more, maybe it's just $50,000 more, but you have to understand that's what we're going to do. We're going to try all these different variables to see how we can accomplish our ultimate goal of paying a little bit more, but getting much better terms. And now we're getting better returns as well because of it. So that's how you would use this calculator. And like another example I want to show you quickly is, how you can sweeten the pot for these sellers too, right? So if we look at the next one, adding a mid-loan principal pay down. So mid-loan, he says, I don't want to wait 5 years to get all my money, which makes sense sometimes. So how can you sweeten the pot for me a little bit? Okay, fine. I'll give you a little bit of principal in year 3, and then we'll continue the loan for 2 years. You have a $1 million loan that you're holding right now, so I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to pay down another 10% of the loan balance. So I'll pay you another $120,000 at that time. And then the rate can either step up or stay exactly the same, right? So we can say 4.5% or something like that. And now you can see after the principal pay down of $120,000 with a step up in interest to 4.5%, we're paying around the same in debt service that we were previously. Now, if we didn't step up the interest rate, obviously you can see we're paying about $400 less per month in interest. And then the balloon payment is here, and the total interest the seller receives is a little bit lower because we're paying down part of the loan and not paying him as much interest any longer. So that's another option that you can give him. Okay, year 3, I'll pay down a portion of this note. And here I think it's at end of year 2, but you can type 3 here and it'll say end of year 3. And you can even see how the note amortizes below here as well. So you can see, hey, in year 3, at the end of year 3, we pay down a portion of that note. And now we're paying on this remaining balance here, the beginning balance of $880, that remaining interest only at 4% of $2,933 that we saw above. And then up here, you can see all that broken out if you wanted to. And then here are the terms that you present to the seller and put into your multi-offer LOI. So again, this could be, I could take this and then say offer 3 and input that there, and then go back to my 10-minute pro forma and enter those terms and then see if those terms yield me better results or if they're about the same. Sometimes it doesn't matter if your results are better when you're using seller financing. Right? Maybe they're about the same. And the only reason you're doing it is because you're either one, trying to get the deal done, because sometimes you can't get financing on certain deals. This happened to us recently. Or 2, maybe that's just more attractive to the seller, so they're willing to sell to you for that reason. So this is why we come up with multiple offers, and this is why we use the seller financing calculator to do so, in conjunction with our 10-minute pro forma, where we can see our returns on a consistent basis. So hopefully that makes sense. I love this stuff, and obviously I'm always here if you have questions about this, but I highly recommend using the combination of the seller financing calculator and our 10-minute pro forma and the multi-offer LOI. Thanks, everybody.